Hello all, welcome to Tech Capture. So in this video we are going to discuss about encryption in Google Cloud. So based on the location of the data it is stored, the encryption is divided into two major categories. So first is encryption at rest, means whenever the data is stored in a particular location, that has to be encrypted. Second, encryption in transit, means when the data is traveling from one location to the another location or from one server to the another server. So just take an example, you are doing any financial transaction or you are making payment for any of the service, and you enter your credit card or debit card details and you submit the form. So whenever you enter these details will travel from your server to the bank server for authorization, and if your details are correct, it will respond with the correct status or a valid status, and then only your transaction becomes successful. So during this transmission of your sensitive data from one server to another or across traveling of the data in internet, there is a threat that your data can be captured by attackers or hackers, and they can use your sensitive data for a bad purpose. So for that we need encryption in transit as well. So in this video first we'll focus on encryption at rest in a Google Cloud. So we'll see how we can encrypt the data in a different Google Cloud services like virtual machines, disk, or a Google Cloud storage bucket and other services. So we'll see the encryption at rest first. So whenever we are talking about encryption at rest, so there are three different methods of encryption at rest in Google Cloud. So first is default Google managed encryption. So whenever you are storing data on Google Cloud, your data is by default encrypted with Google Cloud encryption or Google managed encryption key. So you don't need to take any additional action for encrypting your data with a Google managed encryption key, but you need a additional level of security, or your client want additional level of security and they want to encrypt their data by their own. They can use a Google managed not Google managed, it's a customer managed encryption. And the third is a customer supplied encryption. So what is the difference between customer managed encryption and customer supplied encryption? So in customer managed encryption key, you just use a key created in a Google Cloud KMS, and your customer supplied encryption key, you create your key externally and you will use that key in encrypting your data. So whenever you are storing your data, you have to use that key, and whenever you are accessing your data, you have to use that key in a Google supplied encryption key. But whenever you are using a customer managed encryption key, you just give the path of your cloud KMS key and you encrypt and decrypt your data. So that is about a theoretical summary of these encryption methods in Google Cloud. Now we'll go to Cloud Console and we'll see how we can encrypt our data. So we'll see two examples. First we'll try to encrypt our data in a cloud storage bucket and a Google Compute disk, and we'll attach encrypted disk to the virtual machine. So let's go to my screen and we'll see how we can do in a Google Cloud storage bucket. So whenever we are encrypting the data stored in Google Cloud storage bucket, there are three different ways. First, Google managed encryption, which is a default applied on all the data which we are storing in a Google Cloud. Second is customer managed encryption, and third is customer supplied encryption. Now what is the difference between these three? So encryption by default, that is a Google managed encryption, so you don't need to do anything for this encryption. Whenever you are storing data on a Google Cloud, your data is by default encrypted using the Google managed encryption keys. Second, customer managed encryption key, it means you can create your own key using cloud KMS. You can store your keys in KMS and you can use this key to encrypt and decrypt your data just by passing your key location or key value to the Google Cloud encryption and a decryption. So here you could see the second, cloud key management service, keep keys in the cloud for directly used by a cloud services. And the customer supplied encryption means, suppose if you have keys already created at on-prem, you have your raw key, you want to use that key for encryption or a data encryption, they can use customer supplied encryption key. Here Google won't have any visibility on your keys, so you have to manage your own keys. So Google will not be responsible for your data if you lost your keys. Okay, so now we'll see all these methods one by one. So first I will show you a Google managed encryption key. So in this Google Cloud, always encrypt your data stored in a Google Cloud storage bucket before writing it into the disk without any additional charge. So this is a free service whenever you are storing your data in a Google Cloud. So there is no charge, additional charge for your encryption, and no additional action also required. So now let me just go to the console and show you. So this helps us to protect our data whenever data falls. Unfortunately, if data falls into the attacker's hand, attackers cannot read our data if it is encrypted. So I'll just go to console and I will show you how this Google managed encryption key we can see in a Google Cloud storage bucket. So I am on my cloud console now. I'll go to cloud storage bucket. And here I'll just create a new bucket. So I give the name. I have to give the unique name, so I'll just use, okay, I use this name. I'll just keep a single region, so I will choose a US Central one. Storage class, I'm not bothering it for now. I'll keep it as it is. And now at the last, we always ignore the encryption part. I will show you for this demo. Now here, if I open a data encryption, you can see Google managed encryption. By default it is selected and no configuration required. So if I create, I'll just keep it confirm. It just enforce disable public access. Okay, now suppose if I upload any object, so I'll just upload anything from a download. So suppose I'll upload this file, CSV file. And I will see the encryption method. This is a Google managed encryption. So I don't need to do anything additional. Even I have access to the storage bucket, so I can decrypt this data as well. So if I go to open this file, it will download this file. Okay. So this is a Google managed encryption. You don't need to worry about it. It is by default applied whenever you are storing your data into the Google Cloud a storage bucket. Now see the different approach, that is Google managed encryption key. So I'll go back to my slide just to explain you few things, and then I'll create or store my data using the Google managed, not Google managed. I will store data again using the customer managed encryption key. So we'll see in my slide what are the steps to encrypt the data using a customer managed encryption key. Now in customer managed encryption key, customer can create and manage encryption keys through a cloud KMS. That means we have to create key in cloud KMS. And what are the steps? So we have to enable cloud KMS API first. We have to create a keyring and key. So I will show you on console how to create a keyring and key. Then we have to assign cloud KMS crypto key encryptor decryptor role to the storage bucket service agent. Now this is very important steps, and I get a lot of questions from the candidates like how they can resolve this permission error or how it can assign this role, because usually you might have performed activity with a service account of a compute engine, that is default compute engine, but where I can get a service account for a storage bucket. So I'll explain you how to get the service account for a storage bucket or a, so this just refer as a service agent, not a service account, because this is Google managed. Then add encryption method to the bucket. So these are three simple steps. So I'll go to my cloud console and I will perform all these steps, and I'll show you how we can store our data using the customer managed encryption keys. So let me go to the cloud KMS first, key management. So API already enabled. If you don't have API enabled, you have to enable your API first. Okay, so I have one key, but I'll create a new keyring and new key just to show you how we can do that. So keyring name, I'll just give customer managed encryption key demo region. So just remember, if your bucket is in US Central 1 region, your key should be in US Central 1 region. If your bucket is dual region, you have to create your key also dual region or multi-region or a global. So you have option, either you can create keyring a region, regional, or you can create using this option US or a global or India. So multi-regional also you can create, or a global or a regional. So I'll create a region because I already selected the bucket with the US central one, and I'll create a keyring. So this is only a keyring which can hold a multiple keys. So inside this keyring I have to create a key now. So I'll give the name customer managed encryption key. Okay, I'm giving the simple name. So symmetric encrypt decrypt means you can use the same key for your encryption as well as the decryption. Here you can set a rotation period, it means you can change your key. So that is not important for now, just I will try to focus on a data encryption, and we'll see later how we can rotate our keys. So I'll just create it. Okay, so my key is created now. Now I'll just open a new tab. Okay, and I'll go to storage bucket now. So the second step, so first step was create keyring and key, enable cloud KMS API. So that is already done. Now we have to assign a role. So for that I have to find a service agent for my storage bucket. So to find a service agent, go to setting and just scroll down. Here you will find this service agent. You can read here. So this is used for encrypting, decrypting KMS encrypted objects. Okay, so I can copy this. I can go to IAM. I will verify if this role is already there. If not, I will assign that role. Okay, so let me find this. Okay, so it is not showing. So what I will do, I'll just click on Google provided role grants. Okay, it is not showing. So what I will do, I'll grant access. Okay, and role. So encryptor, decryptor. So this is the role we have to assign. Let me save it. Okay, once it is saved, I'll go back to my storage bucket and I'll create a new bucket now. So what I will do, I'll create new bucket. Okay, so just let me show you one thing here. So in the same bucket, if I go to the configuration, so here a default encryption method is a Google managed key. So if I choose this customer managed encryption key, I am changing it and I am selecting my key. So now I am applying this default encryption for my bucket. So whenever I am uploading any object to this bucket, it will use this key to encrypt this data. So I'll click on save and now I'll upload one object. So I'll just go to this bucket and I'll upload one object. So I'll upload something different now. I'll try to upload photo. Okay, I'll upload this photo. Not sure which photo is it, but yeah, I just uploaded. Let me refresh. Yeah, now you could see here the encryption method. So first the default encryption was there, we didn't change anything, so it was Google managed. Now we change the default encryption for our storage bucket to customer managed, and this object is encrypted using the customer managed key. So let me open this object and show you the details. Okay, so here it is showing the encryption key. So this is the name of the key and this is the version of the key. So version of the key is 1. Encryption types customer managed encryption key. Let me try to access this. Okay, so this is my Google Cloud Champion Innovator Swags photo. Now you might think we can easily see this data. There is no option that it asks us to enter the encryption key. So just remember one thing: whenever we are decrypting an object encrypted with a cloud KMS key, this decryption is performed automatically as long as this service agent has access to our key. But just you want to see if it is a really encrypted, what I can do, I will go back to cloud KMS. I'll disable key. So I'll just disable a version of my key. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just, now you could see the status of the key is available. That means there is one key version is primary and enabled. So if I disable this key, now I won't be able to access my data which is encrypted using this key. So I'll go back to my storage bucket and let me refresh. So it will take a few seconds till up to 1 minute to reflect the result. So let me try to open this image. Okay, still it is accessing. I'll try after a few seconds. Okay, let me try now. It's almost 1 minute now. Okay, now you could see unable to decrypt with a cloud KMS because we disable this key version. Using this key version, our image or our data was encrypted. So suppose anyway you will feel your data is compromised and someone is having access to your data. For time being, you can disable your keys so that the person who is trying to access your data won't access your data. Okay, so that is about a customer managed encryption key. So now I'll go back to my slide and we'll see what is the third option. Now the third option to encrypt data in cloud storage bucket is customer supplied encryption key. So in this, customer can create their own keys and provide while encryption. So for each operation we have to provide a key. So while uploading the object or while downloading the object, we have to provide a key. So we need to apply encryption on object level and not on a bucket level. So when you were looking for customer managed encryption key, we applied encryption, default encryption on a bucket level, but that is not the case for customer supplied encryption. We have to apply this encryption on object level. So we can only use a gsutil command to upload or download object. We cannot use a cloud console to upload object when we want to encrypt it using a customer supplied encryption key. So what are the steps? So first we have to generate key, then we have to upload that key or update a botoconfig file using our encryption key. So what is a botoconfig file? I will show you. So we'll do all these steps in cloud console and we'll see how we can encrypt our data using customer supplied encryption. So I am in my cloud console and I am in my same cloud storage bucket. Here I already uploaded two objects. First is customer managed key and one more is a Google managed key. So we uploaded object with both of these encryption options. Now we'll see how we can store our data using a customer supplied encryption. Okay, so before that we have to create our encryption key. So we have to create key which should be encoded with base64 format. So I'll first go to my cloud shell and we'll create a key first. So we can use a command to create a key. So I will use OpenSSL. This is for random. Okay, and this key is created. Now let me copy it somewhere. So I'll copy it here. Okay, now the second step we had is we have to update a botoconfig file. Now what is botoconfig file? So this file is used whenever we are using a gsutil command to upload objects to the cloud storage bucket or download object. So one thing to remember, if you want to use a customer supplied encryption key, it is only on object level and not on a bucket level. but it cannot be done using a cloud console. So every time you have to upload your object using the gsutil command. So how we can do that? So first I will show you the boto config file. So let's do ls-a in your home directory, and you could see the boto config file here. This is a hidden file, so you have to use ls-a. So now let me just edit this file. So I will just use a vi, okay, and here everything is commented for now because this is a default behavior. If you want to customize it, now I want to customize it using adding a encryption key. So what I can do, I'll just type encryption. I'll just find encryption underscore key. Okay, so here you could see you have encryption underscore key. So let me uncomment it. So I'll just uncomment it and I will add my key here. So let me copy the key we created and let me add here. Okay, let me save it. Okay, just okay, so file is saved now. Let me just validate it. I'll just scroll down. I'll go. Okay, my key is stored here. So let me close this, and now let me try to upload one of the file. So let me see what are the files available here. Okay, so I will take this file. So I will try to upload this file to my storage bucket. So what are the buckets we have available? So we have this bucket. So I will use gsutil cp file name, and that's it. So we already added our encryption key in boto config file. So by default it will use a customer supplied encryption for this object which we are uploading using a gsutil. So let me enter. Okay, so operation completed. So let me refresh and see. So here currently only two objects. One is Google managed encryption, another is customer managed. Let me refresh. Now we have third one which is encrypted using a customer supplied key. Now as I already mentioned, we cannot access this object using the console because it is uploaded using a customer supplied key, or it is encrypted using customer supplied encryption key. So let me show you demo here. So suppose if I want to access this object, it will show the target object is encrypted by customer supplied encryption key. Okay, so only option for us to download this object using a gsutil where your boto config file is updated using encryption and decryption key. So currently we only updated a encryption key. So let me show you one thing here now. I'll just try to see the available object from this bucket. Okay, now I'll try to download this file which is encrypted using customer supplied encryption key. Okay, and I will download here itself. Okay, let's see now if we have this file. Okay, so what is the time now? Okay, it just let me open. Now you could see it's available here because we are using the same boto config file and it will have the same encryption as well as a decryption key. If you want to use a different decryption key, there are options you can add in a boto config file. So this file you cannot access from the console, but if you download using the gsutil, then you can access this file. So that's it for Google supplied, not Google supplied, customer supplied encryption key. So in this demo we see how to encrypt the data and store it in the storage bucket using default Google managed encryption key, using a customer managed encryption key, as well as using a customer supplied encryption key. So if you have any doubt, just let me know in a comment section. I'll try to answer that. So thank you for watching this video.